and welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AWOL, and today I'm here to talk about making the fourth ornament. And overall, um, okay. I mentioned the fact that this was probably going to be um, the easiest one so far, and in many aspects that is true. A couple things I didn't quite anticipate. One was the fact that each one of the segments takes about 20 minutes to make. So it's 20, 40, 60 to make the each one of the three that we have to put together, and then you make three more. So it's like 2 hours of actually making the knots to come up with the whole thing. So it did take longer than I anticipated. It wasn't terrible. Um, that is what it is. The pattern is a great pattern for this. It was a lot of fun. It didn't take a whole lot of like staring at the thing to try to, make out what I have to do next. Perfect. It was really good. I really happy with that. Also, I really think it turned out really nice and seasonal. You'll see as we get further along, like how the colors really played in well for the whole thing. In fact, when I shared it with a friend of mine, the first thing they said was like, "Oh, it's very Christmassy." Like, well, yeah, that's kind of the thing, right? I mean, it's supposed to be like a Christmas ornament or an ornament for any kind of thing, I guess. I mean, realistically, I don't know who else uses ornaments for anything, but I kind of feel like this kind of thing could be fun. You want to have a bracelet thing hanging off of the rear view mirror in your car. Um, so be it, rock it. People will definitely notice that you tie nuts and you make interesting stuff. So, yeah, so in this first part here, we kind of do the whole segment of me putting together the first piece. And this was kind of my way of trying to make sure that you guys kind of saw that it goes together kind of easy and that there's kind of an easy method to the overall thing. It might not be the exact most efficient, but the balance kept everything really nice and straight, and I was really happy with the results. Um, yeah, so this is like a weird time in the year. It's still January while I'm filming this, so in case you had to wait until November to actually watch this, it does feel a little bit weird working on Christmas things that at this point in the year. But that said, I've been really kind of anxious to see this whole thing done. And so this is kind of like whew, glad to get that done. And I'm really looking forward to the next one. There's going to be additional ornaments. In fact, I have a book where I've drawn out different ideas of things that might work. And I have 12 of them. So they're going to be the 12 ornaments for Christmas. So this is just number 4. These are all prototypes, by the way, in case you're kind of mistaken and thinking, wow, this isn't the greatest looking thing. I've seen somebody else do better. What I'm working on here now is trying to work out the proportions and making sure that I get the sizings right. Because I think like this one might actually be really amazing if instead of just the 12 strings that we're working with, if we increased this to either 16 or 20. I think that's when this one would really shine. But again, it's about knowing that the proportions work, knowing about, because in part of it here, you're going to see where it gets turned inside out to knot it together. And one of the concerns with that, of course, is will there be room to bring it, flip it back around right way around? How does that work? And so rather than having a lot of floss used and potentially sacrificing it, doing these prototypes is really kind of teaching me a lot about what we can do and how we can take this forward. So yeah, and it's cute. It's kind of small. It's a really cute little ornament. Um, I I definitely like the little ones too. I mean, um, our house isn't that big, so having a smaller tree, this would be kind of perfect on that. Okay, so this whole segment here, like I said, about 20 minutes, right? This whole thing is about done. Mind you, too, you'll notice it's wiggling all over the place. That's because I'm working so far away from the clip. All the rest of them, I kept sticking it up there because it just makes it go a whole lot easier. The whole reason for this was just to show you the length overall of the whole segment, the whole piece. So, yeah, just as a heads up, this is not how I would recommend to do it. And it definitely adds to how long it takes and the frustration involved. So, but yeah, this is the final rows of this part. So I think in the previous ornament, I had showed you how you can bring the two pieces together. So that's what we're going to do again. So this is, I have to undo that knot and bring the two ends together. And then that long area that we hadn't touched, that's what kind of goes to joining. So I've used two clips. I don't know where, two clips like this. They're just binder clips to hold it in place. I had to make sure they were really up close tight so that way I could minimize the hole on the bottom of it, because this is the bottom of the ornament. And the only reason for that is having the long strings left over is what we use to make this part. If you were trying to make it where you just like kind of used a needle and put on a little bit of string to hang it from, then you could use either side. It wouldn't matter. So yeah, it's just basically going through and repeating the pattern with it joined. I don't do the whole thing here. I just kind of wanted to show how it gets started. And again, the pattern is doing the same exact thing. And you can kind of make out the fact that it's starting to make that star that's right at the very top or bottom of the thing. I mentioned during the making the pattern that, oh, this is going to be cool because the reds were just the little line at the top. I immediately saw that as the potential for what this thing was about to do. And I love it. I think that's very, very, very cool. So, yeah, it gets a little bit dodgier. So this is about just getting the first two attached, right? So after this, we have to bring in one more. And that's where the clipping and stuff gets a little bit sillier, because you have to kind of open it up enough to get the next piece in, and they're still trying to come in straight. And so you can see there's just strings going off in all directions. So I have binder clips on the board in different points, and that's taking the tails of each of the other ends and kind of draping them over, like the clip is like this, having the extra string coming off the end, just to keep it out of the way so I can concentrate on the 12 strings that are coming down. And it worked. It totally worked. Like, obviously though, it just feels like there's just string everywhere at this point. But this is all of the strings. It's only the three pieces that come together. The next part will be, so this is joining those. You have to like bring it around to open up the area where the other ones join, which again, like if you saw how this kind of looked, there's like overlapping and it looks really wonky. That's better than to have them come together like this. Because if you have them coming together at the wrong angle, like this is normal, if you do this, the way your knots are going to be shaped and the way it works out is going to distort how that segment works out. So that's sort of a thing that you want to avoid. So yeah, I think I just do like the first little square of each of these is all. So. And again, I mean, in my head, this all made sense, right? But until I actually put it together and actually made this happen, um, there could have been some unexpected things to it. And no, it pretty much went how I expected. It's not incredibly difficult. It does go relatively fast considering how much is going on with it. And it did the pumpkin thing. It totally does the pumpkin thing. You'll kind of see a bit in a little while here. You'll kind of see what happens because it comes out at first. It's sort of a mess. Um, but then with a little bit of shaping, it all works out. So here we go. So now see how it's trying to go in all different directions. And now I'm trying to, and see, I don't quite have the angle right. So there we go. That's where I get it centered. Trying to get the pieces that don't want to lie right out of my way was the thing. And it does feel a little bit tight in there. It feels a little bit like things are sort of in the way and a little bit frustrating. But it just works. And I don't think that that's necessarily going to get any easier with bigger pieces to these segments. But there wasn't a whole lot like what you have to do to get this thing to join. And there's like no stitching. It's just tie knots to get everything to come together. So that's kind of awesome. And again, it's so, because there's like these nice long rows with the white, and the pattern is really, really simple. There's nothing crazy going on. I don't have to keep staring at it. It was really a pleasant build overall. I know not all my products necessarily come out like so easy and so enjoyable, but this was a good one. Mind you, like I said, I'm looking forward to the next. The next one, I think is definitely going to be not only easier than this, but I think the overall shape and everything about it is going to be really exciting. So it's always more. It's always exciting. It's always something, right? But yeah, so this is the last piece here, and you can guess when I take this thing off of the clips, it's sort of trying to bend and flip and do things in weird directions. But all you have to do is take each one of the segments, right? Each one of these, and just kind of bend it. Just kind of grab it in the middle and get it to just sort of fold inwards. And as soon as you do that, the whole center part flattens right out, and you can bring it around, and that's where you get that pumpkin shape, right? Where you got those curves that just kind of flow. See, there, I've already given it the shape, right? And then Mandy put together every third one, or every second one, right? So there's 3. And these are the strings she's tying. She took the red ones out. So that's what makes the tassel bit. And then she just ties all these together. And then all the red ones have to come out one side, and that's where you flip it around inside out. And that's what it looks like right there. Kind of squished down, because she's just kind of squished it flat. And then she put the kumis on here. So she just basically did 2, and all she did was like every other string was knotted together, just the reds were left out. So after I got it turned around the right way for her, she kumied up these, and after that I had to kind of sit and sort of just kind of taking each segment and just sort of giving it some shape, and then sort of squishing the whole thing and just kind of playing with it until it started to look like the ornament that I wanted. Like I said, that part's not all that difficult. You can kind of squish it in a little bit like this to kind of close off the gaps a bit. Um, but yeah, it turns out really, really super cute. And I think you're going to like it. I think you're going to have a lot of fun. So, yeah, well, thank you for hanging out with me. And as always, don't get your strings in a bunch.